Whatever stage you're at with your trading, it's important to stop and gain perspective before planning your next move. Take a break from the charts and join in the discussion with our hosts, Jason Graystone and Akil Stokes, as they share insights, opinions and expertise on all things trading. Grab a coffee, pull up a chair and join the Trader Coffee Break.
Well. Welcome back to the Trader Coffee Break. I am Jason Graystone.
And I am Akil Stokes.
And Akil, you're not ill and you haven't got the sniffles and you haven't got a cold or like, what's going on, man?
Nope, not it. A couple days ago, you would have caught me with it. We've actually, we've got normal like weather now as far as normal could be, I guess, but don't jinx me. Just let's not talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's been freezing and rainy here for the last month, like really out of character for April, but we've had some sun over the last couple of days, so grateful, I suppose. Welcome to everyone in the chat. This is the Trader Coffee Break. We try and hook up once a week to discuss topics that people don't like to discuss about trading, but they're always there in your head. And this show is where you do less to do more. So you stop, get away from the charts, grab a coffee, get out of your head, come and like vent, and you see the bigger picture. And then you go back to the charts, more refreshed, more focused. So sometimes all you need is a bit of a coffee and a bit of a break, and listen to me and Akil rant. So this week, the topic came up based on a question that you got, Akil, right?
Yeah, it was basically a topic about trading live. I'll go ahead and read you the question. Lewis sent this. He said, I have a question. So at the start of my trading journey, I picked up so much knowledge at once from S&B books. Those are the Mike Bellifiore books. One Good Trade, the Playbook, two great books that I recommend if you want to see how professional traders operate. And I guess more of the stuff kind of like on the coffee break, the stuff you don't really want to hear, but you got to hear it.
Yeah.
Yep. And legends like Jason and yourself. Appreciate it. I don't know if we're legends, but we'll take it. Anyway, so he said, I built strategies that worked, but I was then overcome with the fear of using my live account and the fear of losing my capital, which, to be honest, isn't a huge amount of capital. And he's asking, what can I do to overcome this final hurdle? So it sounds like this is a trader that maybe has done everything right. We don't know the full backstory, but is at the point where they've gone through the process. They are ready to trade live, and they've getting a little bit of stage fright when it comes to that, I guess, that final step. So I guess we'll start with this, Jason. The fear of trading live, is this something normal that you see, or is this trader just some type of psychological mess and a weirdo and unlike anyone else out there?
Yeah, I don't think he's a weirdo. I think there might be something, I think there might be a little bit ill prepared, because usually when you're scared of trading live money, it's not really, there's nothing scary about losing the money. That is part of it. That is one part of it. But the other bits are like being wrong. Like just from like an evolutional standpoint, I guess, or humans just don't like being wrong. You don't like being proved wrong. You don't like being told you're wrong. Whenever, I mean, go in a Facebook group, any Facebook group, and look at any comment. And anyone who posts into a Facebook group will be bombarded with people who think you're wrong. Why are you doing that? What, you know, and they attack you, right? Or if you challenge someone's opinion, someone's back will be up. You know, they'll be like, no, they will attack you for it. And this fear of being wrong is overwhelming for some people. So it might not necessarily just be the money. It might be that you've got a fear of being wrong. And that is why I say you might be ill prepared to go live, because when you go live, you should be in a place where you know that the odds are stacked in your favor. You should know that the probabilities are stacked in favor of your edge. So you shouldn't be worried about being wrong, because you should have statistics there that tell you, well, even on the days that your trades don't work out, you're still not wrong over a period of time. You're still generating money over a period of time. So I would firstly make sure that you have that data and that you know the expectancy of your strategy going forward, so that you can rule out that fear of being wrong isn't causing you too much anxiety. And then there's obviously losing money, and we've also got fear of missing out on trades, and we've got fear of like leaving money on the table, and those are kind of things that you have to deal with as you go through this trading journey. But the biggest one's being wrong. I think that's one that catches people out when they're not prepared.
Yeah, and I think it starts with shifting the mindset of like, what is being wrong? Like you said, as human beings, we're always taught being wrong is like getting the wrong answer on a test or someone's opinion being different. In trading, it's a little bit different, right? Going back to the probabilities, right? Being wrong isn't necessarily losing a trade, right? Being right isn't winning a trade. We've all won trades. We've done we just randomly pushed a button. I've had trades where I was supposed to be short. This is early on in my career when I was still trying to figure out like buy stops and sell limits and all that fun stuff. I've had trades where I've accidentally entered in the wrong direction, came back, saw that I was winning, took some profit. And even though I was technically wrong because my prediction was in the opposite direction, I was right because I put on the wrong order. So like, am I wrong? Am I right? Like, how do we do that? And it takes shifting. We always call it a process over outcome, where you have to think of there as being like 4 different types of outcomes when it comes to your trades, or 4 different types of trades. There are winning trades, there are losing trades, there are good trades, and there are bad trades. And we typically think too much about winning and losing. If I win, I'm right. If I lose, I'm wrong. Where we need to shift it to this side, where a win or being right is taking a good trade. And a good trade is one that meets all your rules, one that you've tested and has all the probabilities. Being wrong is taking a bad trade or missing out on a bad trade, right? Not doing what you're supposed to do. And when you can focus the mindset on wrong and right being process-based instead of outcome-based, you no longer have that same fear. You start thinking in probabilities more, like Jason said, where it's like, I have no idea what this individual trade is going to end up. I don't know if it's going to make money. I don't know if it's going to lose money. And I honestly don't really care. What I do know is that my data tells me that if I consistently take these good trades, and I do it over and over and over and over again, I will be profitable end of day. It's like any type of profitable business, like McDonald's, for example, right? They know that they're going to make a bad burger, have to send it back. Someone's going to complain, they're going to have to refund their money. A drink's going to get spilled, something's going to happen, right? But they know if those doors stay open and people keep coming in and ordering those burgers, they're going to make profit at the end of the day or end of the year. And that's,
they know how many people are going to refund.
Yes,
they know how many people are going to steal. They know they know all this data because they've been running the business over time. And that's why I say a lot of that you get through being a trader. It's kind of like chicken and egg. You just develop the stats as you go. But the beauty of trading is you can get a lot of that data before you even spend $1 on a live trade. It's one of the rarest businesses where you can get that solid data. And then the only variable is your performance, right? So that's why you have to be switched on. You have to really be mentally strong. And I mean, another reason that could cause you problems is your position size being too high, too great. Too great a position size is going to make you feel unstable. So another thing that you can control in trading, the beauty of trading, you just control how much you risk. You are in complete control of what you risk and how you manage your trading business. Whereas any other business in the world, you're not in full control because you've got staff and third parties and other variable factors that can influence the performance. When trading, you don't. I hate to say it, but it is just you. It's you against the market, and it's how you approach it that either makes you fearful or professional. I'll tell you this, in trading, it's very much a game of 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. 3 steps forwards, 2 steps back. That is very much what it's like in trading. Consider this. If you are like uncontrollably euphoric after taking 3 steps forward, imagine how you're going to feel when you take 2 steps back, because the more excited that you get about progress, the more despondent you're going to feel when you take those losses. It's like, basically, the more ecstatic you are, or the more excited or happy you become, you are more subjected to becoming more depressed in the losses. So you want to get a handle on that. And if you're excited at the prospect of taking live trades, you really want to ask yourself why, and what am I doing differently? Because by the point that you go live with real money, if you've done the work properly, that live trade should feel exactly like all the other trades that you've taken in your demo trading or your testing or whatever. It should just be, oh yeah, this is it. Here we go. We fund the account. And I do get that, like, it is a big deal. You go live and it's your first professional trade and everything, and it's real money, but you don't want to, you should be ready for that by then. And if you don't feel ready, you're not ready. That's it. It sounds simple, but that's kind of what I feel.
It's similar to, like, I was thinking about this earlier when we looked at the question about, like, learning how to drive a car, where it's like, by the time you get your license and drive a car, hopefully it's not your first rodeo out there. You're not just on the street and going crazy. You've spent countless hours and hours practicing. Like, my dad used to take me we start off in open parking lots, like 4:00 in the morning, just like driving straight and practicing left turns, right turns, all the fun stuff. Then we elevate it to, like, actual roads, like 4:00 in the morning, where we're driving on actual roads, but there's not a lot of cars out there. And then we elevate it to driving, like, middle of the day when, like, all the crazy people are out there, to highways. But, you go through the process of learning and building on each of those steps. And by the time I got my license and I'm like, hey, Dad, I'm driving to the store to get something, I'll see you later, by myself. It wasn't, there's a little bit of that, like, okay, first time, like, let's do this. But you get going, you put your foot on the gas. It's like, well, I've just done this already. Like, there's literally nothing different. The only thing different is that, in driving, I don't have my dad sitting next to me. In trading, it's just a little bit of extra risk on the board, but you'll notice that there's no difference in the process. And I like the position size argument that you made, because, one of my mentors always told me that, especially when starting off, trade so small that it doesn't matter. And if you're using correct position sizing anyway, it shouldn't matter, right? If you look at what most people risk, I would say that at the up end, 2%, Jason? At the top end, maybe 3% if you're really aggressive, right? If you think about taking a 3% hit on your account on one loss, how much should that actually bother you, right? That's like the difference between, like, hey, a dollar slipped out of your pocket and fell on the ground versus $100, right? If $100 slipped out, you're probably pissed about it for the rest of the week. $1 slips out, you're like, okay, whatever. Like, I could have used that dollar for something, but no big deal. So I think that emotional attachment to money and understanding it and putting yourself in the right position, size, no pun intended, I guess, is so important.
Absolutely. And you have to make sure that you have got a system that you're ready to trade as a long-term plan, because this isn't something you're just going to do for the summer and then, like, try something else. This is something you have to really see through. And I think a lot of people who go into trading try to batch it as this kind of thing that you're going to do for a year and make a load of money, or do this thing for a summer and make a load of money. It's not like that. I've never met anyone that's done that. It just doesn't happen that way. And if you're going about it that way, you're probably not ready to trade anyway. It's kind of a counterintuitive way. I remember a quote that we read out at the last event that we held. And it was, if you give the average man or woman a strategy that will surely make them a millionaire in 10 years, they will most likely modify the strategy in an attempt to realize those results in just 1 year. And in doing so, they'll create a routine where they'll not become a millionaire in neither 10 years or any amount of years because of the same greedy psychology that caused them to change the initial strategy, that will strike again and again. And when their new systems are not producing the massive results in the short term, you know, they won't produce them in the long term. So you have to master your mind. You have to think about this as, this is something I'm going to be doing long term. I need, as Akil said, you have to get in the car and take the first journey. And it's up to you to be really careful. When you take that first trip in your car, you're looking at the mirrors, you're looking at everything, like police are behind you. You start, you know, you're really taking it easy. You're really driving carefully. You're driving at the speed limit, if not way lower. You're checking your mirrors every 5 seconds. You're like giving yourself 2 feet from every car so that you don't clip the wing mirrors, and you know you're taking extra precautions. That is, you have the power to do that in your trading, and you must do that. And if you don't do that and you just dive in, again, you're going to just get caught up in, all the wins and the losses, and you're just going to have emotional turmoil the whole time that you're going into it. Sorry, just one more thing. You do say that you've got a fear of trading live money. I would also look back at your life and make sure that you've dealt with any situations that have happened to you or your family where you have witnessed the perceived loss of money, right? Where someone has lost money and you've labeled it as a negative event that's taken place. Because when you label something as a negative and you're not seeing the upsides and the lessons and the benefits of that thing taking place, you label it as a negative, you put it in a case and you lock it, and it's there forever going, you could lose money, and it rears its head every time that you get the opportunity to use leverage and make more money using your money. That voice will be there going, I'm in this case and you've locked me away, and this negative thing. You need to go back and see what that event was and say, what was the good that came out of that event? And there will always be good. I get people message me every day about being scammed and I've lost £500, I've lost £20,000 or whatever it might be. But there's always lessons. That $500 is a very cheap lesson in the long term when you look at it that way. What are you going to do now? Be more careful about who you listen to online. I've learned a little bit about trading and how that doesn't work. So that's going to save me money and earn me money in the long run, right? So start to see the good that comes out of those events and make sure you haven't got any skeletons or gremlins that are in your ear when you go live. That's really important.
Yeah, I think it's key. I think, people don't understand how much control we have over our thought process. Like we have full control over it, and we have a choice where we can look at everything for anything, like I said, on two sides. We can look at it as a negative, or we can use it for a positive. And like, I've personally, I get asked all the time, I'm sure you do as well, like during interviews and whatnot, like, what is your biggest regret? Or like, if you can go back and do anything over, what would you do different? And like, my answer is always like nothing. Like, I wouldn't do anything different. Like, there were a lot of missteps. There was a lot of mistakes I made, a lot of kind of like dark moments. But like, if we didn't go through those moments, we wouldn't have learned the lessons that eventually made us successful. So like, why go and change it? And we have that power to do so. You just have to ask yourself, how am I going to use this? Am I going to use it as an excuse for why I'm always going to be afraid of money, or afraid of taking a jump, or afraid of relationships, whatever it may be? Or am I going to use it as a positive and be like, hey, whatever, I went through this moment, lesson learned, how can I use that to not go through it again? And, trading is this, especially in trading where everyone, a lot of people get scammed. A lot of people hear about people getting scammed, or people are just brought up with the idea that the stock market is gambling and you should never invest because it's manipulated and banks will take your money, whatever the BS is out there. Like, people are brought up like that, and they are stuck thinking a certain way just because a friend or a family member told them to think a certain way. But you got to be free thinking, and you got to think for yourself, gather your own information, do your own research, and eventually kind of make your own decisions.
Absolutely. So I think that's a good place to wrap up. I think the overall message is, check yourself a little bit, make sure that you know your numbers, make sure you know what you're going into, and then just go into it slowly. Go into it with caution and care, and just walk before you can run. That's really the best advice that we could possibly give you. And get around people who are like-minded, are on the same journey, and can support you and encourage you, not veer you off track. So that would be the best advice I could give anyway. And hopefully you do well. You stick it through. I'm sure you will. If you take on board what we've said, I think you'll do all right. If that guy's listening, please keep us up to date with your progress as well, because we always love to hear the stories following these questions that we get. It's really, really inspiring to see what happens to these people, especially when they go on and do really, really well. So, yeah. Cool. All right. Well, guys, if you've got any other topics you want us to discuss on this Trader Coffee Break, let us know in the comments. I think we've got a few comments down here. This channel's
really,
proof that
really nice
traders
messages.
Yeah, really lovely messages. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thanks. Just before you leave, SB says. SB, who are you? What's your name? We probably know you. It's like... hello, Chris.
Oh, news events day. Stuck with today. Oh.
Do you trade news events days?
Today would be the day to...
Yeah, right.
A rough one. Yeah.
Some news events, I'm happily trade through, but some news events I like to stay out. Today we've got FOMC, right?
Yeah, I'll say I would say this: most news events, there's more fear than what needs to be. Like most, especially, if you're like a day trader on a lower time frame, it can make a difference and stuff like that. But like if you're a swing trader hourly and above, most news events aren't going to affect the market in any type of meaningful way. Although stuff like today, like there's no, FOMC statements and anything involving monetary policy, especially if there's like an expected change or something like that. Those would be the ones, non-farm as well. You could throw that in there. Those would be the ones where maybe you want to sit on the sideline. You want to get out 15, 30 minutes before, come back 15, 30 minutes later, and kind of not involve yourself in the irrationalness that is the market. But like all the other stuff, there's rarely any that kind of move the market. Like a 20 pip move or even a 30 pip move doesn't really do much to a chart, to be honest with you.
No. Cool. All right. Well, guys, it's been a great session. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, do less to do more. And we'll catch you in the markets. Take care.
Thanks for joining us for the Trader Coffee Break. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to never miss a live discussion. Follow our hosts on social media. And remember, do nothing to gain perspective on everything. See you next week.